Hi, my name's Peter, and I'm a copper miner. I live in a tiny village called the Seneca Location up in the Keweenaw Peninsula of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. You can see that here in red on the map, Keweenaw Peninsula. Those of us living in the Upper Peninsula are often called Yoopers. It's the morning of January 17th, 1919, and we're heading down for breakfast. We own a boarding house, and this here's my wife, Cecilia, cooking breakfast for myself and the other miners who live here. Every morning Cecilia makes not just breakfast, but our lunch. Lunch is always a handmade pasty, a little meat pie. We learned how to make these from the Cornish miners who moved here. After breakfast, it's time to head to work at the Seneca mine. This here is our house with a bit of snow about. As you can see, it does snow a bit around here. It's lots of work just to keep the pathway from our house cleared. In fact, you can see the snow is about as tall as I am here. In fact, it snows more here on the Keweenaw Peninsula than any non-mountainous area in the whole USA. There's even a snowmometer here that helps us keep track of the snow each winter. In fact, we average over 15 feet of snow each winter, and we've even had a few winters of over 30 feet of snow. As you can see here, sometimes we just dig a tunnel through this deep snow to get to our house. It gets a bit cold here too. It's 10 below zero right now, just a bit nippy. Walking from our house, we pass through town where you can see they're clearing the streets, hauling the snow away by horse-drawn sleighs. These ain't no Santa Claus sleighs. Past the end of town, we finally reach the Seneca mine. This copper mine's been going for over 25 years. We meet up with the rest of our mining buddies, grab our mining helmets and lanterns or candles, and we load into the rail cars to take us into the mine. Now we're loading up on the elevator car to head down the deep shaft to get to the copper ore. Some of these shafts drop down over 6,000 feet. That's over a mile underground. Here we are, deep in the mine shaft, chiseling away at the rock to dig out chunks of copper ore. Here's one chunk of pure copper we found down here last year. In some other mines, they've hit pure copper masses that were over 100 tons. They had to chisel, hammer, and blast it into pieces, then haul it back to the surface. At the surface, any copper ore is crushed in great stamping mills and then smelted to remove the copper. Copper is then shipped to markets via boats traveling on treacherous Lake Superior nearby. At one time, we were the biggest supplier of copper to the whole world. After a hard morning's work, it's finally lunchtime for us. We stay down in the bottom of the shaft for lunch. Remember those pasties that Cecilia baked early this morning for us? Now's the time to finally eat them. We just place them on our shovels, hold our miner's candle or lamp underneath to heat them up. Filled with meat and potatoes, they sure taste good right now. Some days it gets a bit warm down here, at least it seems that way. It's about 45 degrees down here, but a whole lot warmer than outside. Here we are showing off a bit for the photographer. Can be a bit dangerous working down here. Lots of cave-ins, we've been trapped a few times, and we do use explosives to break loose the copper ore. Sometimes methane gas builds up where the explosives don't quite work correctly. We end up with a huge explosion that can destroy a mine shaft such as this one. I don't even want to think about what happened to the men. Sometimes the wood support beams catch on fire, and we have a bit of a problem, as you can see here from the neighboring mine, where the mine shaft's on fire. At least they got the men out in time. Exhausted after a long day buried deep in the earth, we head back through town here to get back home. Here's the mailman making a late delivery with his dog sled. Sure seems like he has a pretty easy job just sitting down all day. Passing by the high school, we see our boys out still playing a late game of ice hockey. Wait another year or so, and they'll be down with us in the mines too. Of course it snowed most of the day while we were down in the mine, so the snowplow's still out clearing the roads. Almost home now. Here's one of our neighbors' houses. Phew, look at that. I guess it did snow a bit more today than we thought. After a huge supper, we finally get a few minutes to relax, playing cards with our mining buddies before heading to an early bedtime. We'll be up early again tomorrow morning for another exhausting shift at the mines. Good night, all.